Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, today we're going to talk briefly about divisibility rules. Now, divisibility rules are very helpful as we work on simplifying fractions, as we talk about prime and composite numbers. And if you look at one of the stations, two of the stations have to do with divisibility rules and prime and composite numbers. So these are going to be very helpful. I've been grading some papers over the divisibility rules station, and I'm seeing errors, problems missed, that really, in all honesty, if you read the rules and just do all the 2s, and then do all the 3s, and then do all the 6s, what you're required to know from my class are the 2s, the 3s, the 4s. 4 is kind of a beating. The 6, the 9, and the 10. I think I missed 5. Okay? If you know these rules, you're going to lead a happier life. It's just, I was miserable in life, and then I learned these rules, and now I smile sometimes, at least once a week. So if we know these rules, it's going to help us greatly as we move on to fractions, and it's going to help you greatly when you do that assignment. When you get to station 3, you'll be gluing these rules into your journal. So you're going to have them. I'm going to tell you what happens. You're going to be asked if the number 51 is prime on some assignments, and people are going to say, yes, it's prime. But if you look at the rule for 3, you're going to realize that it's not prime, because the sum of the digits is a multiple of 3. So what's the sum of the digits in 51? 6. The sum of the digits for 51, you add 5 plus 1, the sum of the digits is 6. Is 6 a multiple of 3?
Yes.
Yes. 3, 6, 9, 12. So all you have to do on 3 is very, 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 very easy. You just add the digits together and see if they're a multiple of 3. And you can see if they're a multiple of 3 based on your multiplication chart. Because none of the ones you're going to have this year are going to go past 36. I promise you. But 51 is one that is missed very frequently. What about 57? Is 57 a multiple of 3?
Yes.
Yes. What's the sum of the digits?
12.
12. And if 3 divides into them, they cannot be prime. Because prime numbers only have 1 in themselves. If 57 has 1, 57, 3, and something else, because 3 is going to go in there a certain amount of times. 3 will go in 19 times, 29 times, 19 times. Then it's obviously going to be composite, because it's going to have at least 4 factors. I don't know, there may be more, I don't know off the top of my head. But there are at least 4 factors. These are 2 that get people a lot. 39 is one that gets people a lot. So now I want you to look at the rule for 2, and then we're going to go everything here and put a check if it's in the rule for 2. Okay? So if the number is divisible by 2, you're just going to put a check. If it's not divisible by 2, you're going to leave it blank. So if you're watching at home, pause it, write down this chart. We're going to work it in just a minute. You're going to get to turn this in for 100 as long as you pay attention, because we're going to go over it. So if you can't write when we go over it. So, a minute. Put a check in the ones that are divisible by 2. If the last digit is even. if the last digit is even. Maribel, give me one even number. That's just one even digit. 4. So if it ends in a 4, it's even. You'll give yourself a camp point when we're done. JJ, give me another even number. Good, 6. So if our number, the last digit is a 4 or a 6, you'll give your camp point when we're done. Sahana, 8. You'll give yourself a camp point when we're done. Kane, another even number. We have 4, 6, 8. 2. You'll give yourself a camp point when we're done. Jason, one more.
10.
Okay, so what's the last digit in 10?
0.
0. So if your number, the last digit, ends in a 2, a 4, a 6, an 8, or a 0, that number's prime. That number's divisible by 2. Sorry, not prime. Divisible by 2. So when we're done, you'll give yourself a camp point. Alize, give me one of these that are prime. I keep saying prime. That are divisible by 2.
324.
324. You'll give yourself a camp point when we're done. Sanaya, give me one that is divisible by 2.
300.
300. Camp point when we're done. Those of you who are following along, you can check these off as we go. Mason, any other that are divisible by 2?
496.
Okay, but give me one that's on here that's divisible by 2.
720.
720. Divisible by 2. You'll get a camp point when we're done. Kinley, divisible by 2. Any others?
810.
810. Divisible by 2. Awesome. Camp point when we're done. Kaysen, any others that are divisible by 2? No. You'll give yourself a camp point when we're done. Now we're going to look at the divisibility rule for 3. The divisibility rule for 3, which we just talked about, if the sum of the digits is a multiple of 3, that means if you add the digits together, if you add the 3 digits together here, the 3 digits together there, if they're a multiple of 3, then that number is divisible by 3. If they're a multiple of 3, then that number is divisible by 3. And is there any of those that are divisible by 3?
720.
720. What is the sum of the digits in 720?
9.
9. 7 plus 2 plus 0 is 9. Good, you give yourself a camp point when we're done. JJ. Oh, I'm team shaking this, okay? Colin, are there any others that are divisible by 3?
810.
810. What's the sum of the digits?
9.
9. Okay, and 9 is a multiple of 3. Izzy is not here. We miss you, Izzy. Andrew, are there any others that are a multiple of 3? Drew, sorry.
300.
300. What is the sum of the digits in 300?
3.
3. 3. And 3 is a multiple of 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So on and so forth. Jaron.
324.
324. What's the sum of the digits?
9.
9. Chloe, are there any others? No?
Yes.
Yes.
869.
869. What's the sum of the digits?
9.
9. It's more than 9. The sum of the digits. 8 plus 6 plus 9. What's 8 plus 6? 14. 14 plus 9. What's 14 plus 10?
24.
And we subtract 1, so it'd be 23. Is that a multiple of 3? No. Good. Give yourself a point when we're done. Anybody see any that we missed? Awesome sauce. The rule for 6. The rule for 6. The reason why on that assignment you should just go one column at a time is the rule for 6. If it is divisible by both 2 and 3, it's divisible by 6. So this one's real easy. If it's divisible by both 2 and 3, it's divisible by 6. So in this case, all you're doing is looking at the 2 and 3. If there's a check in both the 2 and 3, then it's divisible by 6. Okay, that's one we shouldn't, 2, 3, and 6, we should not miss any of these. As long as we use the divisibility rules. But you have to use them. Some of the papers I graded, they got the 2 and the 3 right, but they missed the 6. Because they didn't go back and use the rule. They glue it in their journal. And it may be people in here, I don't remember. They glued it in their journal. And then they were doing the divisibility rules paper, and they'd go, I don't get it. But did you use the paper you glued in? No. I had you glue that in first. That was step 1 on that station. Step 1, step 1, step 1, step 1. Do step 1 before you do step 2. All right, so Morgan, are there any numbers that are divisible by 6? 720, because it's divisible by 2 and 3. You'll give yourself a point when we're done. Joshua, any numbers that are divisible by 6?
300.
300, because it's divisible by both 2 and 3. Gus is not here. Ian, any numbers that are divisible by 2 and 3? Left. 810. Give yourself another point. And Izzy's still not here. She did not show up yet. Gus is still not here. Drew, any others that are divisible by both, or that are divisible by 6?
324.
324, because it's divisible by both 2 and 3. Use these rules. Use them, use them, use them. Tomorrow we'll talk a little bit about prime and composite numbers. Remember, when you're doing the stations for station 2 and station 3, come check your work at my desk. Especially before you put your hundreds chart in there. Because you want to have that hundreds chart listing the 25 prime numbers less than 100 so that you have that to refer back to later. Questions. What questions do we have? Make sure your paper has your first and last name on it right now at the top. First and last, please. And I promise not to erase your name, Chloe. Promise not to. Okay, so I'm grading Chloe's paper the other day. And she turned in 2 at the same time. Okay? 2 different assignments, though. So I grade it, and I go to the next assignment, and it's the same writing. I pretty much know it's Chloe's, but it doesn't have a name at the top. So I text Chloe's mom, send a picture, and I say, hey, is this Chloe's paper? Chloe's mom said, yes. She said she put her name on it. I said, well, I didn't erase it. I'm not all about erasing names just to be a jerk. I'm a jerk for other reasons. Boom, shakalaka, peace out. God bless, love you. Do something kind today. Subscribe.